Welcome to English Easy Hub. Join us as we ignite the flames of your English learning journey together.
Please subscribe to watch and embark on your English learning journey. Don't miss out on the exciting content. In this conversation, Simon seeks guidance on developing a natural rhythm in English speech, aiming to capture the natural flow he hears in native speakers. His teacher explains that English rhythm is stress-timed, meaning that certain syllables carry more weight, creating a musical flow. They discuss key techniques to build this skill, including shadowing, emphasizing content words, experimenting with intonation and emotion, and even using body language to enhance speech. Throughout, the teacher emphasizes that rhythm is not just about timing, but also about conveying meaning through stress, reduction, and pauses, making speech sound authentic.
Hi, teacher. I've been trying to improve my English rhythm when speaking, but I'm not sure I'm getting it quite right. I feel like native speakers have a natural flow that I'm missing. Can you give me some advice on developing a better sense of rhythm in English?
Hi, Simon. Absolutely. Rhythm is such an essential part of sounding natural in English. In English, unlike some other languages, the rhythm comes from a pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. It's almost musical. First, I'd suggest focusing on the stress-time nature of English, where stressed syllables carry more weight and unstressed ones are lighter. Imagine it like a beat in music, where every strong beat is evenly spaced.
So, would practicing with a metronome help? I could set a beat and then try to fit my syllables to it.
That's actually a fantastic idea. A metronome can help you internalize a steady beat, allowing you to feel the rhythm in a way that becomes natural over time. However, keep in mind that English rhythm isn't perfectly regular like a metronome. It has flexibility, especially in connected speech. In rapid conversation, syllables often compress, and some sounds may even drop out completely. For example, in "what do you want to do?" it often sounds more like "what do you want to do?" This natural reduction is a big part of the rhythm you're hearing.
I see. So rhythm isn't just about timing, it's also about which sounds get shortened or dropped. But how do I know which ones to emphasize and which to let go?
Great question. Emphasis, or stress, generally falls on the content words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. These words carry the main meaning of a sentence, so we stress them naturally. Meanwhile, the less meaningful words, like articles, prepositions, and auxiliary verbs, usually remain unstressed and can sometimes be shortened. Instead of focusing on every single word, try practicing sentences by emphasizing the content words. For instance, in "she went to the store to buy some milk," stress falls on went, store, buy, and milk.
It's like I'm trying to paint a picture with my voice, making some words stand out more vividly than others. But what if I overdo it? I worry that I'll sound too robotic or exaggerated.
That's a natural concern, Simon. The key is to stay relaxed. Listen to native speakers closely and try to mimic the rhythm rather than just the pronunciation. Think of it like dancing. When you first learn, you might exaggerate the moves, but as you get used to it, the rhythm becomes second nature. You can practice with short, rhythmic phrases to help yourself get the feel. Start by exaggerating, and as you gain confidence, ease into a more natural flow.
I think I understand. Is there a way to practice this with real material? I want something conversational, not too formal.
Absolutely. Using audio shadowing with real conversations, podcasts, interviews, or even sitcom dialogues is fantastic. Choose materials with natural conversational flow like talk shows and listen to them actively. Shadowing means repeating what you hear, not just the words, but the rhythm and intonation as closely as possible. Pause and replay sections, working until you feel you're matching the speaker's flow and rhythm.
I've heard of shadowing but never thought to use it for rhythm practice. I'll definitely try it. Maybe I'll start with something fun, like a sitcom. Do you have other tips for picking up the natural flow of English?
Yes, here's one more. Immerse yourself in intonation patterns too. In English, intonation rises and falls, especially in questions or statements with emphasis. For instance, a yes or no question often has a rising intonation, while a firm statement has a falling one. Mimicking these patterns as part of your shadowing can make your rhythm sound much more authentic.
Interesting. I've noticed that in English, emotion often comes through in how people say things, not just what they say. Would using emotion help me sound more natural?
Absolutely. Emotion directly affects rhythm and intonation. For example, I can't believe it with surprise sounds different from I can't believe it with disappointment. Practicing with a range of emotions will make your speech more dynamic and engaging. It's also a powerful way to connect with listeners since you're expressing the feel of what you're saying.
That's a good point. I'll experiment with expressing emotions too. Just to recap, I should work on stress time rhythm, practice shadowing with real conversations, and experiment with intonation and emotion. I'll start trying these out and see how they feel.
That's a great plan, Simon. And one last tip. Try recording yourself regularly. Listening to your progress is incredibly motivating, and you'll quickly hear areas to improve. With consistent practice, you'll notice your rhythm improving naturally. I look forward to hearing your progress.
Thank you so much, teacher. This is really helpful. I'm excited to get started and see where this journey takes my English.
That's fantastic, Simon. You're embracing this with such energy. It's wonderful to see. Remember, rhythm is like the pulse of a language. It might take time to feel it fully, but every bit of practice gets you closer to that natural flow. And don't worry about making mistakes. They're part of the process. I'll be here to guide you. So feel free to share your progress or ask for more tips whenever you like.
I'm really excited. One more thing, I've heard that it's helpful to speak out loud even when I'm alone, like practicing dialogues or even talking to myself. Does that actually help?
Yes, talking to yourself is an underrated technique, and it can be very effective. When you practice out loud, you're training your mouth, ears, and brain to coordinate. Try creating little scenarios and speaking them out, like pretending to order at a restaurant or making small talk. Not only does this reinforce rhythm and intonation, but it builds confidence in your speaking ability so that it feels natural when you're in real conversations.
That's great advice. I sometimes feel silly talking to myself, but I can see how it would help me become more comfortable with the language. I'll try to make it a habit.
Exactly. And if you want to make it even more fun, record some of those self-talk scenarios, then listen to them and notice how your rhythm sounds. You can even go a step further by layering on gestures and body language to make it feel more like a real conversation. Engaging your whole body as you practice helps to internalize the rhythm, so that speaking naturally in English becomes second nature.
That sounds fun. And now that I think about it, I've noticed that body language can actually help with rhythm. When I move my hands or use facial expressions, it feels like the words come out more naturally. Is that something I should focus on too?
Absolutely. Body language is directly connected to rhythm and helps create a more engaging and fluid flow. Think of subtle gestures or expressions as beats that sync up with your words. When you're in sync with your gestures, it's easier to maintain a steady, natural rhythm. Watching yourself in a mirror while speaking can be enlightening. You'll see how gestures enhance your speech's rhythm, making it feel more dynamic.
This is all so new. So, I'll work on practicing the rhythm with body language, shadow native speakers, and record myself often. I feel like I'm getting a whole new perspective on speaking English. Thank you so much, teacher.
You're very welcome, Simon. You've got such a proactive attitude, and that's the perfect mindset for developing fluency and rhythm in English. Remember, rhythm is like the heartbeat of the language. Each small step, whether it's shadowing, using body language, or experimenting with intonation, brings you closer to sounding natural and fluent. Enjoy the process, make it fun, and let it become part of your personality in English. I'm looking forward to hearing your progress. You're on an exciting journey.
Simon's journey to mastering English rhythm centers around several interconnected practices. His teacher advises him to focus on stress-timed patterns, where content words hold more weight, and to use shadowing techniques with natural dialogues. They explore how to blend rhythm with intonation, emotion, and even body language, enhancing the natural flow and making communication more expressive. By practicing with various scenarios, recording his progress, and even talking to himself aloud, Simon can build confidence and gradually internalize rhythm as part of his personality in English. This dialogue emphasizes that rhythm is like the heartbeat of language, giving Simon a roadmap to sounding both natural and engaging. With consistent creative practice, he is set to develop not only fluency but also a nuanced feel for English as a living, dynamic language.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share to keep the English learning journey alive.